Another big Champions League game we have our eyes on. Bayern Munich will host PSG. Bayern won the first leg at the Parc des Princes thanks to a second-half goal by Kingsley Coman, so they will bring a 1-0 aggregate advantage into this return leg. Neymar out for this one, and it was reported today he's actually going to miss the rest of the season. He's going to have surgery on his ankle. He's going to be out 3 or 4 months. So two-part conversation here. As far as this specific game, I'll reiterate a point I've made a couple of times recently. I actually think, I hate to say this, I love Neymar. I've spent an inordinate amount of time in the last 10 years defending the guy, but I actually think his absence might be a blessing in this game because I do not think starting all 3 of those guys would be a recipe for success in a game away to Bayern. They're only down a goal. Messi and Mbappe provide you more than enough firepower. You need to be balanced. You need to be solid in a game like this. And playing the formation they played away to Marseille recently, a game they won 3-0, which was their best performance of 2023, I think that's the way to go here. I suspect it's going to be a 3-5-2 with Kimpembe out. Danilo's become that third guy at the back alongside Marquinhos and Sergio Ramos, and then you're going to see 2 wingbacks in Verratti, Vitinha, and Fabian Ruiz in the midfield, and then Messi and Mbappe up top. Might not work. I mean, chances are Bayern are going to go through regardless. They're the better team. They're at home. They have the advantage. But I think PSG have more of a chance playing this lineup than they would have playing those 3 guys up top. What do you think?
Is this, in terms of your view right now on addition by subtraction relative to Neymar, is this something new? And if so, what has changed? Because we know just in general, you put a bunch of stars together, it doesn't mean it's going to click. And sometimes you need time, and sometimes it's just never going to click. So I just want to understand the history, if this has evolved for you in that, was there a point that it clicked, and why did it click? Or is it just never really clicked in the way that it has? And how much of it is simply on Neymar relative to the other 2?
I think the injuries have changed him as a player. He doesn't have the same burst. He's not as dynamic. He's not a sort of run behind the defense player. He's more of a playmaker now. So there is a certain redundancy in having him and Messi in the lineup together. And, you know, with those 3 guys up top, it kind of disrupts your ability to press when you don't have the ball, and it upsets the balance. Against most opponents they face, certainly the riffraff in France and even teams they face in the group stage of the Champions League, I think they can just play that lineup and out-talent teams. But away to Bayern, I think, like I said, you have to be really solid, and so that would be my concern.
But whatever blame, and that's maybe a harsh word because this is one of the elite teams and they win a lot of games and do some incredible things, but whatever blame you're putting squarely on the shoulders of Neymar. And it's not blame. I mean, injuries, it's a harsh word to use, but you're putting it squarely on his shoulders as opposed to anybody else. You're blaming Neymar for if and when they don't play well with all 3 of them on the field against quality competition.
Yes. Okay. But I actually think his long-term injury is bad news for PSG in terms of their efforts to unload him in the summer, which is something I think they'd like to do. But again, you just wonder if any other big European club is going to step up and pay a lot of money for a guy who's been so injury-prone the last few years. The numbers, they make for some ugly reading. He's in 6 seasons with PSG, and his 6th season is now over. He's made 173 appearances. He made 186 in 4 seasons at Barcelona. So more games in 4 seasons at Barcelona than in 6 seasons at PSG. If you average it out, 173 games over 6 seasons, that's less than 30 per season. It's just been one injury after another. It's so frustrating for those of us that are fans of his, who love watching him. And I know Chelsea, Todd Bowley, I wouldn't put anything past him, but I'll ask you, if you were a big European club, he's now in his 30s, he's had this terrible injury record the last few years. Is there anything that would compel you to spend big money on Neymar at this point?
Yeah, I still think he's a game changer. And I still think for those luxury teams that are able to spend money, I think he is going to be attractive. But it does highlight, and not that he needs highlighting anymore, because people say, well, you know, the type of position he plays, and he takes players on one-on-one, and he's constantly, you know, dribbling, and people are trying to crush him and tackle him, that this comes with the territory. And then you go look at Messi, who does as much, if not more, of that little dribbling and putting himself in different situations. And plenty of people who take swings at Messi, and he is built differently physically than Neymar, but his body and maybe even his mind are much more adept to dealing with that physical type of stuff that goes on than Neymar is. So, I mean, if Messi needed yet another reason to call him great, there it is. You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops every week. Subscribe now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You like that clip? Well, my State of the Union podcast drops twice a week right here on my very own YouTube page. The only way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button down below. Size the day, and see you soon.